Welcome back to the series of lectures on microprocessor and microcontroller, and myself Raja Kishore, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, Mari Lakshman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. In this video, we are going to be discuss about specifically 8051 interrupts. So, what is an interrupt? So, an interrupt is an external or an internal event that interrupts the microcontroller to inform that the device need to be served. In other words, we can say that it is an event which is occurred by an other devices to the microcontroller. So a single microcontroller can serve several devices by two ways, like either using an interrupting or a polling. In interrupts, whenever any device need to serve, the device notifies that microcontroller by sending an interrupt signal. Upon receiving an interrupt signal by the processor, the microcontroller interrupts whatever is doing and serve to that particular device. But in case of the polling, the microcontroller continuously monitoring the status of all the devices uh, in round robin manner, which means that it is continuously monitoring the particular device whether it is raises the interrupt or not, or it is giving any request to serve that particular device or not. Whenever the conditions for given device is met, it performs that particular service. After that, again it will move to the monitor the next device until everyone to be served. So that is the nothing but polling. So here we will see a differences between interrupt versus a polling. So as we know that whenever any devices need to serve, the device notify to the microcontroller by sending an interrupt signal. But in case of the polling, the microcontroller continuously monitoring the status of the given device. Whereas in interrupt, upcoming services are receiving interrupt signals, the microcontroller interrupts whenever, whatever it is doing and serve to the particular device depends on the priority. Whereas in case of polling, whenever the condition is met, it performs the services to that particular device. But in case of interrupt, the program which is associated with an interrupt is called as an interrupt service routine or an interrupt handler. Okay, and also each device gets attention of a microcontroller based on assigning a priority. The priorities can be possible in case of an interrupt, but in case of the polling, there is not having any priorities. Okay, and after whenever it is monitoring any devices, it's after serving the devices it will go for or it is monitoring for the next device to be served. So these are the some few differences between an interrupt and interrupt polling. So we'll call some basic interrupts. What is a vectored interrupt and non-vectored interrupts? So whereas a vectored interrupt is nothing but a device that's our vectored interrupts are assigned as an interrupt vector, that is a number that identify a particular handler. The interrupt service routine addresses that particular interrupt and fix, and it is known to the CPU. Which what is meaning of this? In case of vectored interrupts, each and every interrupt raised by an external or an internal devices will gives an address location. Whenever that particular interrupt rises, it will give an it will check in the interrupt service routine, and it is identifies and that particular program going to be execute, and processor knows that what type of interrupt is raised, from where it is raised. Okay, and whenever device interrupts, the CPU branches to the particular ISR, which means that whenever an interrupt occurred in case of vector interrupts, then a processor or a CPU or microcontroller jumps to the particular address location where caused by that interrupt, and it is executed in a ISR. So all 8051 interrupts are called as an vectored interrupts. Then what is non-vectored interrupts? So non-vectored interrupts is an interrupts who has a common interrupt service routine, which is common to all non-vectored interrupts in the system. The address of this common ISR is known to the CPU. And however, the CPU crucially do not know which device is caused by that interrupt without polling each I/O interface. So once interrupt is occurred, then system must determine which device of all the device associated actually interrupted. So major differences here are vectored and non-interrupted. One word I can say that in case of the vectored interrupts, all the interrupts have addressed and having a specific address and will be executed in interrupt service routine by the specific programs depends upon a type of interrupt raised. But whereas in case of a non-vectored interrupt, there is common ISR or a common address will be there. So whenever any interrupt occurred, that common address or common ISR going to be execute and finds what is that interrupt from where it is raised all the data. Then what is maskable and non-maskable interrupts? So we know that maskable interrupts are nothing but interrupts is one the programmer can ignore, okay, by setting a or clearing the bits of interrupt control register. So we have an interrupt control register. In that interrupt control register, a programmer can hide, the programmer can ignore that any interrupt which is raised from maskable interrupt. Typically, the microcontroller might allow the multiple interrupt sources, but application requires only few of them. The programmer can mask off unused interrupts. Whereas in case of non-maskable interrupts are those who interrupts which do not get are gated by the interrupt control register, which means that I can't hide, I can't ignore any interrupt which is raised as a name of a non-maskable interrupt. So the it is an always interrupt no matter what the state of the microcontroller is. It need to be execute, it need to be serve that particular interrupt. Typically, these are used for the critical or fatal conditions or for the system reset functions. Okay, that means that whenever if I press any reset button, what will be do? Whatever the task, whatever the thing you are going with your PC or a system, immediately because of your pressed power button, immediately it will shut down or restarts. Okay, but that means that it is a non-maskable interrupt. You can't do because you are watching a movie, you are reading something, whatever the task, whatever the thing processor is doing, no matter because of you raised some request to the processor like a non-maskable, like using a power button, so immediately it's going to be shut down. Okay. uh, then what is this ISR? Because in previous things we are talking about interrupt service routine. For every interrupt, there must be an interrupt service routine or an interrupt handler. Okay, when an interrupt is invoked, the microcontroller runs that particular interrupt service routine. So for each interrupt, there is a fixed location of the memory that holds the address of ISR. So the group of memory locations set aside to hold the addresses of ISR is called as an interrupt vector table. So what is this ISR? ISR is a set of programs which is written, and if it will be executed depends upon a type of interrupt rises. So all these programs with an address is kept in a table called as an interrupt vector table, which consists of the address locations of your interrupt service routine. So whatever the interrupt vector table address is there, whenever any interrupt is raised, the processor jumps to that particular address, that is an ISR, and it executes that particular program from that address locations. So that is called as an interrupt service routine. So what and when the triggered interrupts? Okay, we can configure 8051, so any of the following event can cause an interrupt, like whenever if your timer 0 overflows, timer 1 overflows, when any reception or a transmission of a serial characters, external event 0 or 1, because these are we found in some TCON register, TMOD registers, or SCON SMOD registers on external interrupts. So these are the few things may cause us an interrupts. So we can configure 8051 so that when the timer 0 overflows or a character sent or received, approximately interrupt handler routines and it will execute the ISR table. So now we'll see the steps to execute an interrupt. So upon activation of any interrupt, the microcontroller goes to the following step. It is the process the microcontroller will do. It fetches the instruction and it executes and serves the addresses of the next instruction from the program pointer onto the stack. So because whatever the next instruction is executing, that has been moved to the stack pointer, and it also serves the current status of all interrupts internally, and if jumps to the fixed location of the memory, then called the interrupt vector table that holds the address of that particular ISR. Then the microcontroller gets an address from the ISR from winter vector table and jumps to that particular location. Then it starts executing that particular interrupt service or a subroutine until it reaches the last instruction of the subroutine, which is RETI, return interrupt. Okay. Then upon executing RETI, return from an interrupt instruction, the microcontroller returns to the place where it is interrupted, the last location, and first it the program counter address from the stack by popping top of the 2 bytes from the stack to the PC, which means that already what we did, whenever any interrupt occurs, what I did, the address of the next instruction is pushed into the stack pointer, right? So similarly, after end of this interrupt rises, though then it is popped that particular address from the stack to the program counter, then program counter will execute. So these are the steps we are following if any type of an interrupt are raised. So this is a program. So I'm executing a summary program. Okay, any interrupt occurs, so it is jump to the ISR. Okay, ISR program executed by using RETI. It will goes to the main program. Again, main program execute any interrupt go main program, like that. It will jumps to the program. So interrupts of 8051. So there are 6 interrupts are allocated. Okay, they are in 8051, and there's a follow. First is a reset or powers up reset. This is the first interrupt, and second one is a 2 interrupts. Okay, are set aside for the timers, because if you see one timer 0 and one timer 1 interrupts are there, TI and TI0. So 2 interrupts set aside to the hardware external interrupts, like port 3.2 and port 3.3. Port 3 second pin and port 3 third pin are an external hardware interrupts, namely INT0 and INT1. And one more is a serial communication, has a serial interrupt, single interrupt along with the both receiver and transmitter side. So there are totally 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, there is a 6 interrupts are there in 8051. So this is an interrupt vector table, and these are the address locations for that particular 6 interrupts. Whenever any system on reset, the address location of an interrupt vector table is 000. Similarly, any external interrupt 0, i.e. 0, then address location is 0003, and timer 0, okay, TF0 000B, and external 1, i.e. 1 0013, timer 1 TF1 001B, and serial port RI or TI, because yesterday only we have discussed about RI and TI and importance of an RI and TI. So the address location is 0023. So 8051 interrupts related registers, which what are the some registers we have discussed, special function registers. In that, those who are related to the interrupts are called TCON, SCON, enable interrupt sources, and specific priority interrupt. So these are the some registers which is having an interrupt request or interrupt raises. So edge and edge type of bits of external interrupts, and in a case of SCON, RI and TI, enabling interrupt sources and priority of these interrupts. Let's discuss these things now. Yeah. So enabling or disabling an interrupt. So upon reset, all the interrupts are disabled, which means that masked, meaning of that none will be responsible by the microcontroller if they are activated, and the interrupt must be enabled by the software in order to microcontroller to respond them. There is a register called IE, interrupt enable, that is a responsibility for enabling and disabling the interrupts. So IE is a register which is responsible to enable or disable any interrupt which is raised. So what is this IE register? Okay, this is IE register. So where the 0 is called as enable disable of external interrupt, because we have seen as 6 interrupts, right? External 0 and external timer 0 overflow interrupt, external interrupt 1, timer 1 overflow, serial port, all interrupts. Bit 7 is going to be set enable or disable of all the interrupts. So bit D7 IE, that is EA, must be set to high to allow rest of the register to take the effect of that particular interrupts. The value of EI, if EI is equal to 1, interrupts are enabled and will be responsible for their corresponding bits of IE at high. If EA is 0, there is no interrupt will be responded, even it is associated to the IE register also, because EA is a master, it will be individually it will going to be set. So to get that, this is a step, move IE comma 08H, okay, or set ET1. So either I can register, if I want to enable ET1 bit, then I can go for a bitwise operation like a set B ET1, or I can transmit a data to IE register also. Then these are the timer interrupts. As we said that the timer flag TF is raised when the timer rollover. Okay, the polling TF we have to be wait until TF is right. The problem with this method is to the microcontroller is tied down, okay, while writing the TF to be raised and cannot do anything else. Because when you see a serial communication programming, I am monitoring until TF flag is set or not. When it is set, I am coming out of the loop. Otherwise, I am continuously monitoring whether a TF flag is set or not. So that is one of the problem. So if the timer interrupt of IE is enabled, whenever the timer rollovers, TF is raised and the microcontroller interrupted whatever it is doing and jumps to the interrupt vector table and serves the ISR. Hence, using these interrupt, the problem of trying down the microcontroller is solved. In this way, the microcontroller can do other tasks until the notified the timer rollover is getting or not. Like not only for TF, TF1 or TF0, whatever the flags raised, this is a timer interrupt going to be happen. So the external interrupts, because as we said that there are two external interrupts, INT10 and INT, has a two external interrupts like a port 3.2 pin and port 3.3, like INT0, INT used for an external hardware interrupts. So the interrupt vector table addresses, as we seen, like a 003H and 0013 is a vector table address locations of ISR for corresponding INT0 and INT1 interrupts. There are two activation levels of these hardware interrupts, like level triggering and edge triggering. Okay, this is an activation of INT. This diagram using a TCON register, I am going to be set and address so that it will be served level or edge triggering. Based on that, it is going to be performed both the interrupts. So what is that level triggering interrupt? In level triggering mode, INT0 or INT1 pins are normally high. If the low level signal is applied to them, then it triggers to the interrupt. Then the microcontroller stops whatever it is doing and jumps to the interrupt vector table to serve that particular interrupt. The low level signal of INT pin must be revoked from the execution of the last instruction from ISR, that is RETI, otherwise another interrupt will be generated. This is called as a level trigger interrupt, and this is a default mode of a reset of 8051. Okay. So the pins must be held at low state until the start or execution of ISR. Then INT or X, that is 0 or 1 pin, is brought back to the logic high before it starts the execution of ISR and will be no interrupt. Then this pin left at logic low after IET one instruction of from ISR, another whatever we have said, the same things. This is a pin. 4 mission cycles it will go for high state level triggering. Then if you come to edge triggering interrupts, the external sources must be hold at high at least one mission cycle and then hold low at least one mission cycle. So the falling edge of the pins of INT0 and INT1 are launched by 8051 and be held by the TCON 1 or TCON 3 of TCON register. It indicates that interrupt is being served now and it is INT pin and is responsible. What is means that this particular pin need to be whenever I want to raise any interrupt through edge triggering interrupts, which means that I need to be kept interrupt signal as high for one mission cycle and low for one mission cycle, then it is going to be raise that particular interrupt. Okay, where it knows that? By using a TCON register I can able to know, so that it determines what INT0 or INT1 flags in the TCON register can goes to be used. These are the pins addressing modes. So whenever ISA are finished, then the same execution, same process, it will check for the RETI and it will come back to the program and it will be executed. During the time the inter service routine being executed, then INT N pin is ignored no matter how many times the makes high to low transmissions. So RET clear, then T1, and there is no C clear TCON 1. So these are the two instructions I can able to use. So then if we come for the serial interrupts 8051, in 8051 there are only one interrupt called a serial interrupt for communication. This interrupt is used for both send and receive the data. The interrupt with IE or IE4 is enabled when RI or TI bit is raised. The 8051 gets interrupted and jumps to the memory location of 0023H is an address locations of serial communication interrupt and execute the ISR. If that ISR must be examined for TI or RI flags, see one of the cause and interrupt responsibility accordingly. TI is enabled when I am transmitting the data, RI is enabled when I am receiving the data. So TI transfer interrupt is raised whenever the bit is framed data to the stop bit is transmitted, indicating S buffer of register is already transformed the next byte. Similarly, RI is a receiver interrupt raised whenever entire frame of data including stop bit is received. Okay, these are the some address location invoke that your particular serial interrupt using an ISR address of 0023H. So then what is the priority of this interrupt? We can alert the sequence of an interrupt priority by assigning an higher priority to any one of an interrupt by programming a register called as an interrupt priority register. So whatever we have seen the six type of interrupts, we can assigning in some high priorities based on interrupts occurring or based on a programming. So that can be set in register called as an interrupts priority register. This gives an highest priority to any one of the interrupts. We can make corresponding bit of interrupt priority to register high. When two or more interrupt bits of IP register set to high, then serve according to the default priority. So all the interrupts are loaded to kept initially and till the interrupts are being served, all other interrupts would be ignored. So upon RIT instruction, same procedure, then interrupt going to be end. So this is your priority register. Okay, so external priority giving a least priority, and timers 2 is giving highest priority like this. Priority wise int0, if1, int1, tf1, ri or ti is the fourth priority, and timer 2 as giving highest priority. So this is your interrupt priority register. The last 3 bits are reserved, where serial port 54 is a serial port priority, timer 0 is as next priority, interrupt 0 or interrupt 1, and px is an interrupt 1 pin priority. So with this we have finished the interrupts in 8051 microcontroller. So if you have any queries, you can ask me, and until, happy reading, and thank you very much. Here one more thing, the priority of bits 1 is assigned to the highest priority. If the priority bit is 0, then we are assigning as a lowest priority. So until, happy reading, thank you very much.